feel good out here. And I got my tea in the package. Oh, she gone? What? What? Trouble is gone? Say what? What? Good. I'm telling you, when you're trying to do good or do better, you got to have something. You don't care if it's plant a flower every day. Walk on across the street. You got to do something. Happy Monday, guys. This is a silent live, as you can tell. But it's good to do silent lives too, not only for the watch hours, but just in case one of your subs, friends, supporters, or followers may need a little moral support. They may need a little attaboy. See, we got to give each other some more attaboys. You know, people so scared that they're pacifying a person. There's too many folk dying to worry about this, okay? Everybody responds to positivity different. So we can't be like, oh, you just want to do everything. They'll never learn. Who told you that? I want to know who told you that. That did not come out the Bible. All that spare the rod, spoil the child. If you want to be fair about it, what about not provoking the child to wrath? See, they'll never add that in because they always wanted to, even though I'm all right with we all had to be colonized, But really, it was all to tame the human. It's all to tame the human. So for us, it started in the slave trade, the betrayal, the hurt by our own people, the tragedy of the whole slave situation. But that's why when some of these Africans come over here, they better than us and have a little attitude. Some of them, not all. But I can see why, because see, they wasn't tainted by slavery, you know? They weren't tainted by the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave, the house slave versus the field slave, the pitting each other, the tearing the families apart. See, them African folk didn't have to go through that. So they ain't got that somewhat. And then the thing about it, this is what killed me. Race aside, all race aside, if you notice, people that got false pride ain't got a pot to use the bathroom in. Okay? They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing. I mean, false pride. Because see, when you're proud, you can be homeless, but have your hair brushed back so pretty with the 99-cent gel, you couldn't tell. That's pride. False pride is you don't make but $2,000 a month, but you go and get a dumb $700 a month car note, and your rent $1,000, and it take about $2,000 to live. So you're living off $3,000. You're spending $3,000 a month and only making $2,000. But you don't want nobody to know that. You don't want nobody to think you're struggling from paycheck to paycheck. You don't want nobody to know you're taking care of your grown kids. Okay? You don't want nobody to know that. That's false pride. Because pride is, if you take care of your kids, all y'all got such a good system and things going, and y'all have barbecues and parties, and y'all working everything together, that's when it's all right. That's when it's all right if your kids stay with you. But not because you raised them so selfish that they think the world revolves around them. So when it don't, they destroy themselves. That's what false pride again. And they can say what they want about me. Oh, she used to be in the streets. She did this, she did that. Same stuff that sober women do, but they pay the man, you know. At least if anybody wanted any company from me, they knew what I liked. They knew what to buy me. They knew what to shower me with. Okay? I didn't have to pay them to lay down with them. And then disguise it as a false pride, good marriage, okay? A lot of these women in these marriages be getting so sexually abused. Because, see, the man takes the context out of the Bible his way. You must be submissive to your husband. They take it to a whole nother level, and then having their wife doing some terrible things that they do with streetwalkers. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. And don't let a man have a man that ain't trying to pursue the love of Christ correctly. Don't let him have an overnight shift. He gonna leave 2 hours early. If he leave 2 hours early and have a night shift, I know where they're going. And that goes to the preachers, the police, the teachers. They be out there. But that false pride, don't want nobody to know they be picking up the streetwalkers. The false pride, I'm telling you. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. Because there's a difference between being proud and false pride. Because even though, look, if you want to be a man like that, how about set your pride aside and be single and don't do that woman like that? Or vice versa. For the women too. Because women are very sneaky. Very. Very sneaky. And then they want to punish the man when they cheated second. If a man cheats first and you get mad and vengeful and cheat second, both of y'all still wrong. So you can't keep holding that on that man. I wouldn't have did that if you. No, that was in you. You been wanting to do it because I seen many women whose husband has betrayed them and they still don't be in no man's face. Until God know they ready, if God wants them another relationship. If you a hoe, you a hoe. And it don't disguise in the church. You know what you're doing. And ain't nobody perfect. Don't get me wrong. Ain't nobody perfect. All of us got something to work on. But I guarantee you, in my case, when I used to have about 40 things I do wrong every day, it's about down to 2 or 3. So I count that progress, okay? And obviously it's progress because I'm on a live spreading inspirational information. Stuff that you can look up in books, you can look up in the dictionary, you can look it up in the Bible, you can ask your loved ones. This is nothing Elyse is making up, okay? So chill. I don't want to listen to her. She might not. Now, pretty much what I have to say in public and on public platforms, you can look it up. It is written. Like I say, it's just written. Don't shoot the messenger. It's just written. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't be jealous over the messenger. And then for me to been in the street so bad, that's why nobody ain't got no reason to feel inferior or jealous in my case, okay? Remember, I've been in the streets before, so fix your face when I walk in a room, okay? Fix it. That's what I be wanting to tell some of them. Fix your face when I walk in a room, okay? Oh yeah. You know what? I thought I was way behind. I ain't way behind. Shoot. Look like I'm gonna be closer than I was last week. But see, we didn't have to fill out no papers and stuff. So we finna see. We finna see. That's cute right there. I like that. This church might be trying to do some things in one around. They need to cut this grass though. Cut the weeds by the building, and I know that's probably somebody else's property, but they really need to cut it. And if they don't want to cut it, I would give you some wood planks and make me a fence so I won't see all that. All of that right there, that's so tacky. Now, it could be their property. It could be now. Then like these little weeds in the parking lot and stuff. Get that stuff up. Some weed killer. Go through this parking lot and then redo them lines. And you can tell that these parking spaces are kind of old because these parking spaces back in the day were so small. Because you try to fit a big car, big SUV, it's hard to put some of them SUVs in these small parking spaces. But I wanted to hop on and just check in to make sure I got to do this more often, even though right now I'm doing a lot of it for the watch hours. It might be that one sub that gets on and say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. I don't want to go through this alone." And if we have to stay on live all day with that person, we will. If we have to switch over to TikTok for that person, we will. If we have to go live on all platforms at the same time, we will. That is what we do over here on the Queen Elyse channel. Yes, we are a diverse channel. Yes, one of our main niches is really, it ain't the main niche, but one of our biggest niches is reaction commentary. As long as we're not violating the Fair Use Act and spreading lies, make sure it's alleged that YouTube allows people to do reaction commentary. Anybody that got a channel can do reaction commentary. So for the YouTubers that got almost 1 million subs, don't worry about if I do a little with my little couple thousand subs. Don't worry about it if I do something, because it should be irrelevant at this point. At this point, you should be doing major sponsorships, if not having your own business, not half bathing and doing bad wig reviews. Okay, picking randoms off DM that ain't got nothing. And then you know what? One person that I do reaction commentary off of. She let her randoms be out laying up all over her bed, all in her house, and semi-slick insulting the kids. That's a woman that want attention so bad. That's the kind of woman that really drop her friends once she get in it don't even be a relationship, it be a situationship. Because if you got a pattern of holding on to a man a long time, it's you. Because even when I was on them streets, I had long-term relationships. Long-term. My first baby dad, I was with him 2 years. My second baby dad, I was with him 9 years. The third man that I dated, I was with him 7 years. Through all that bad behavior, I had long-term relationships with people who. Now that first one, we were young, and that first one was young, selfish. He'll never grow up. He almost 59. He's still leeching out women and don't want to do nothing. And then he got a sister that's so false. She is so-called evangelist now. You know what? One thing about the changes of Christ, especially if you become an evangelist, all that false pride you used to hop from house to house, job to job, stealing and all that kind of stuff, trying to keep up with the Joneses and want somebody to think you better than they are, they got to go out the window when you're in evangelism. So I'm hoping that person, my baby daddy's sister, has changed her frame of mind, because she's a cunning thief at times. She got a pretty face. That's it. A pretty face. But she got a bad attitude. And from what I hear, it's been like that ever since she was young. I think it stems from being spoiled, but you can spoil your kids and they still turn out to be wonderful individuals, okay? They can still have manners. They can still work hard and earn their stuff without stealing. Okay? But that first baby dad of mine, I hope he's listening. But anybody that know him listening, he is the most leeching, cunning person. And you know what? That lady he with now, I believe she's ruining him. Ruining her. He's ruining her, because if I worked at Geico and I had a sorry nigga who wasn't paying no bills, I still could afford to get a car fixed if I had one. Okay? But that nigga leeching so much off her, it's sad. And then when he did decide he want a relationship with my daughter, it's just because she was taking him to work, and my daughter was so glad to be able to bond with her dad for a change, that she just let it happen till it got too much. And he started breaking promises and never giving her gas money or anything. That was so low down. That's why he'll never have no good luck. I wish he was listening. Because my second baby daddy, in it, and he has issues that people think he can't do this about. But guess what? Everything we ever needed from the birth of my well, we dated 5 years before we even had our baby, and we was thugging, okay. But him and his mama made sure I had everything I needed when my own family didn't want to deal with me. Him and his family the one dealt with me. The car I drive now is from him and his family, okay. The main reason why my son was able to go to football visits, I'm talking about even the unofficial visits that we paid for. It was because of my second baby dad, and his family. See, he's older, and he's a genius mechanic. I'm talking about the type that can make his own manuscripts within safety boundaries. Okay? But the issues he have, people put people down that have issues like that. And then the same folk that don't so-called have no issues with the big jobs and all this and that, the preachers and the teachers, some of them don't even do nothing for their kids but cause them emotional turmoil. Because guess what? You can be rich and everything, but you ain't spending no time with your kids because you ain't working all the time. You still an absent parent, okay? Still, the child suffers, okay? You think just because you're keeping a roof over their head, that's what it's all about. No, you ain't tending to none of their emotional well-being. Because if you really want to tend to a personal emotional well-being, and they have minor children, and you don't want to be that kind of parent who works so much when your children don't even know you, this is what you do. You go to the rescue mission for 30 days. You sacrifice 30 days. You will get shot up the Section 8 list with your minor kids. They will help you with your utility bill. If you need to go back to school, they will sign you up. If you need a ride to these places, to the doctors, there's resources for that. But people with false pride, they don't have, like I said in the beginning of the live, they don't have a pot to use the bathroom in. No bank account, no land, all bills. And I know I ain't got nothing right now, but come September, it's going to look a whole lot different in my life. Because God has showed me the solution, a tangible, it's not a dream. The money is already there. We're waiting on the timing, okay? The car I drive, I don't have a car note. And I got a couple of bills that I pay on so I can help my credit score. Okay? And I let folks, I ain't got nothing. They did. Yes, you do. Because it's not false pride that I'm displaying. I'm not worried about who know what I drive and where I live. And the main reason why the Lord gonna bless me with this place that he gonna bless me with in September is because he know I will be that relative who have my arms open wide for my loved ones. They can come anytime and feel comfortable. I'm not gonna date nobody and cut them off. If I date somebody, my husband is gonna treat them better than me. And I'm gonna trust him to do it. I'm not gonna worry about that because he's respectful. He's respectful. If my husband's brother, we treat each other like brother and sister, I still ain't finna be all by myself with him. I'm not gonna do nothing that's disrespectful. And then all that, you don't tip nobody. No, them folk low down anyway. It's some good people out here that know how to say, look, don't be all up on me like that. You need to get your brother. You need to get your sister. What's wrong with them? There's some people out there like that. Well, you ain't got to be so paranoid for folk to be around your man. You got to believe in yourself. And if you set boundaries. If you see something disrespectful and you talk to your husband about it and he don't do nothing about it, okay. No, put it this way. God gonna reveal things like that before you even say I do. He gonna reveal it. Ain't nobody gonna meet him one day and get married the next day. Some people do, but you know what? Even if my husband asked me to marry him 6 months after we're together, that's fine. Because you know what? I'm going to have another 6 months to plan my wedding. And we can take our time. And Lord knows, when the time comes, I have a feeling that I'm going to be one of the luckiest women on earth. And he's going to be one of the luckiest men on earth. I'm going to be one of the blessed women on earth. And my husband will be the most blessed man on earth. I guarantee you that. I'm going to come back and let y'all know. But I ain't in no rush. Because I love my independence. I love not having to check in with nobody. I love not having nobody sweating on me in my bed or spitting on me, okay? I love that. I love not making my whole dedication about pleasing the man. And then while I get neglected, no. Because really, it's semi-barbaric. You must love the person or you're going to cause yourself some emotional turmoil. And you definitely really can't, even if you meet an African prince, you still, you check that man out. You check the mannerisms out. You check how he act if he own wine, beer, or liquor, if he drinks. You check for little schisms, okay? Because that way you'll know whether or not you want to get sexually abused, okay? Because just because a man sign a paper, that's just giving him permission, some men permission to abuse you like that. And some of them have a nerve to hit on you and make you pay all the bills. And then a low self-worth woman will come along and do something like that. That make it bad for the rest of us. That's why we can't find too many good ones. Because some of us, black women, have ruined them. We have let them stay at home and play Nintendo back in the day, and that's when all it started, while you was working at Frito-Lay and Purdue and all them places. Then on the weekend, when y'all getting high and drunk, he beat on you. You come to work with black eyes. Stuff like that. It's in the books. I know, I can't see a man that important to do that to me. Not no more. It has happened to me, and that's how I really know. But I allowed it because my self-worth wasn't intact with my got it going on, rich, two-parent raised religion self. And still out and skip my butt to the white meat in them streets, because when I left home, I didn't know what life was all about. And they hate when I say it like that. Ooh, they gave y'all this, they took y'all on vacation and this and that. That showed me that material items can't make 5 people that don't live in the same house. Any child that done went through the house has some kind of mental health issue. But all us wrong though, because they bought us stuff. Because the mother went to church. Because the dad eventually joined the church. 2 church-going people with ample funds that they didn't know what to do with, didn't know how to handle. You have to let this stuff out, because some people would shoot me to the ground if they knew I was talking about my parents like this. Well, everything that they have done for me, including help me raise my first child, Thank you. But God told me if it wasn't y'all, he would have picked somebody else. Probably picked somebody with their mental health in check. When something wrong with every child, and that's include me. I take medicine. I done been through turmoil, mental health wise. That's why I have to take my medicine. But when every child you don't had exposure to got some kind of mental health issue, it's not our fault. Even if it was our fault, that means you targeted the misfit to make yourself feel big or something. Because when you the pattern, just like a serial killer. If they keep killing and killing back to back using the same ammunition, they're serial killers. So were you targeting the misfit? And really the ringleader is the mother, because the man was so subservient. He did everything she said. All she had to do is whimper, and he gave in to being that man. All she wanted him to do really is to bring in that money. And they were together 47 years before she passed. He's still living. But anybody that know me and knew me, and any relatives that do see this live, they know what I'm talking about. No, we ain't getting no whoopings. They didn't even cuss, drink, or nothing in the house. But that show you that ain't all what ruined a child. I can't even say where anything went wrong. But when every child you've had exposure to has some kind of mental health issue, it's something wrong with you. And then was so controlling, that's why she in the early grave. She didn't even want the doctors to tell her what to do. So she decided to do her way, and her heart stopped. And that man, his true colors came out when she died. He evil, low down, and jealous. And I've told him this. I've let him know I don't peep your game. Cause see, this is the first time I was ever my mama passed in 2019. So I got to know the man in 2020. I started getting to know really around 2021. It all started coming out. Evil, don't know how to handle business, junk hoarder, mess up a property. We got a home property from his mother that my uncle, who was the alcoholic, took care of, manicured lawns, and so neat and clean right there. You go over there now, look like a junkyard. And everybody talking about it. And yes, he's had hip surgery, but he started bringing that junk over there before the hip surgery. Common sense to tell the man, go on get your little goon that you get every time. And y'all start dissecting that junk and take it to the junkyard. Don't have that yard looking like that. That looks so bad. But everywhere he go, he junk a yard. And then he say, that's how my daddy was. That don't give you an excuse to be junky. Bringing the value of the properties in the neighborhoods down. And then he is full of false pride. He sure wants somebody to think he got more than he got. And that's why sometimes my daughter act like that, because they will see, I was trained differently after I realized everything I knew. Earned me a seat in rehab 13 times, okay? From 97 to 2017. And beyond, because I still have a therapist. And I will do an outpatient if I have to. See, I'm that person. I'm that one. And I take medication. So it's still ongoing. But even in the times of all of that, guess what? I learned how to act through the 12 steps. Whether it was AAENA, it go by the 10 Commandments. That's how I learned how to act. That's how I learned how not to lie, cheat, and steal. That's how I learned how to be honest about myself. I didn't learn that from them. Everything I knew earned me a seat in rehab. And I know whoever gonna listen to this gonna be so mad at me because I'm talking about my family like this. But I kept all this stuff in and it nearly killed me. So what I look like just because of a biological connection, I don't care if a biological, y'all gotta let you kill me. My mama gone at this point. Anybody else really ain't got no chance. And I be somewhat respectful with that man, my daddy. He raised me all my life. We live together now until I move to my apartment, my nice luxury apartment in the name of Jesus. But we helped each other because in 2020, my son entered the 9th grade. I had a couple of rough years before that, but God allowed me to raise my son those couple of years from 2016, 2017. I was going through some things and I needed help from my family. Thank you. Thank you, God, for allowing my children to be safe and well nurtured and well fed. And I never skipped town on them. They saw me every week, okay? When they didn't see me, they heard from me. And everybody in my family, and I was good to my family. All my life I was good for them. But they all had something to say, something to do, something to scorn. And I felt like I was alone. Now they wouldn't say that now. Ooh, we love you there. I got one aunt. I got a couple aunts. I ain't gonna name which one. But the only reason why they come where you at is just to see how bad you look. Or see that there's something they can talk and gossip about. That's not. It's not real. It might be semi-concern, but it's not real concern. It's not. But back to what I said in the beginning when we start talking. They can say what they want to say about me. Guess what? I raised me a good one. My parents raised my daughter, and I took over at the age of 18 and to now. But like I said, I never skipped. They saw me every week. She saw me every week. She lived with me too. It's just that she was back and forth from their house to back. But my son was right there from day one hospital till now. He's 20 years old. He's a 20-year-old, almost senior in college, a Division I football player who's on the dean's list, who is a well-rounded, well-respectful G, okay? Because see, I balance my kid. I take him to the museum on a Saturday morning. After that, we go to the hood to visit the baby daddy. Then we go out to eat, okay? That's the balance that I had with my kids. So the whole while, that's why ain't nobody getting whoopings, because we're doing things like that, and all of us thought we were cool. And a lot of times it was just me and my son and my old man. And all those, every man, and my last old man, we all thought we were cool. Okay? So when everybody think they cool and smart, ain't nobody really getting no whoopings. Okay? I ain't have to do nothing with my daughter. When she was 7, I pushed, when she got disrespectful, I pushed her down on the ground. She hit her head. I knew then I don't need to discipline no child. My son, when he was 5 years old, he tried to fight his sister. Before I knew it, I had done knocked him on the side of the head. That was the only thing I ever had to do with them. And they thought I was crazy. So I ain't have to whoop my kids. And I got a respectful son who ain't selfish. He ain't selfish. He don't think the world owe him something. If he make a bad grade, he'll say he made a bad grade. And a bad grade for him is a C+. But he not gonna hide that he flunking, partying all the time, half working. And you know what? When my son gets paid, he helps the family. He don't spend all his money then call when he broke. He really been doing this since the age of 16 when he worked at McDonald's. Now he's finally making the money he deserves, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. But my son always helped me. And when I say that, some people like, oh, you shouldn't do that to your son. I can't help I raised a man. He was his daddy old. I was in my 30s. I raised a man, and he was a man early. Even when he would cut grass and sweep up hair at the barbershop at age 6, 7, and 8, he still would take me to Burger King after I picked him up. When my motor went out on my car and I had $2,500 and he bought the motor for $1,500, he ain't have like $2,500, and I paid for the labor with half of my $2,500. He still was making the money he make now, but it was a man. Anything I need, my son give me. And like I say, this was even when he worked at McDonald's. This is when he swept up hair and were helped out at the mechanic shop from ages 6 to 8. And on the weekends when he could. Because once he started sports in AAU and this and that, and the Lord and the Lord help us pay with that. For that, I give shout out to my last old man. He paid that AAU stuff. Because I didn't work for 10 years. I didn't work I worked one time a couple years, but it was on assignment. I had to work at an elementary school. I was on assignment through Christ. And then I worked at a pediatric speech therapy. And then I worked at a fame camp for fine arts. But those were God-sent situations. Because anytime, and I'm talking about, I ain't apply for these jobs. I didn't, eventually after they please come work for me, you fill out all the paperwork then, and you do criminal background then. And by the way, if you want to be a teacher and you got a good criminal background, and I'm not condoning nothing, as long as you act like you got sense, they do not drug test. But you got that, you can't be coming up in there high, smelling like nothing, drunk. You can't be doing it, okay? They don't give you a breath a lot. They don't do none of that. But they're going to give you that criminal background, though. Because they got to make sure you ain't riding children you ain't supposed to be. Or you ain't no killer from Manila, okay? But they do not drug test teachers. They need teachers. They know sometimes some teachers need to smoke them a little joint at night. They know it. And that's not all teachers, because I know it's some nuns for teachers who don't do anything, who don't get abortions, who don't be sneaking with a man and a nun. They might just smoke a little joint at night after they get off of work. And they might just pay all their bills first before they buy that. And they may just not lie, cheat, and steal to the best of their ability. All the while helping the youth grow and be successful. That is so wonderful. But like I say, that's not all teachers, but some people think that they can't be a teacher or a parapro or a teacher's aide or anything like that because they think they're scared they're going to take a drug test. But let me tell you something about that too. Even if you smoke weed or do some kind of, it's got to be, because the other drugs ain't going to let you hold down no job. I don't care what nobody say. You cannot be sniffing powder and working with, no. It's mainly the weed, okay? God will do for you in 9 days. Well, if you know you got to take a test in 9 days, and you can use your own pee. You ain't got to take nobody else's pee. If God wants you to work at that place, He will do for your body. He will do for your body in 9 days. If you can hold on and fill your life with positive thinking. If you may have to take a sleep aid at 8 o'clock that night. You may have to go to bed early. You may have to do a lot of spiritual things for those days, but you'll pass your drug test to work at that school. And then once you start working, don't be doing things that are going to jeopardize anybody's lives. And then you too can be successful. You too. A successful teacher or parapro. And a lot of times, even when you substitute teach, I'm considering doing that up in Atlanta or in McDonough. Even when you substitute teach, sometimes you can do so good, they'll let you take the teacher's exam and you become a full-time teacher if you want to. If that's what God wants you to do. Because a teacher is not an easy job. You got to show up every day. That's why I like my little Dollar Tree job. I know all I got to do is come and go to work for about 4 or 5 hours, and I have me a little change in the morning. And come up with other strategies to pay for my 3 bills that I got. Because my son is making enough money where I don't have to worry about my rent or utilities. So I just need to sell the best sweet potato pies I have. I bake the best cream cheese pound cake and the best sweet potato pies. Those are my 2 items. And every now and then I throw in a nice old cream cheese strawberry shortcake, okay? But see, once I do my marketing and stuff for my stuff, because see, the taste is down pat. See, I already got the recipe down pat. The only thing I got to do better on my sweet potato pie is make sure I poke holes in the crust so that my crust can be hard at the bottom, because the top be fine. The edges be but that crust, I don't want to be no kind of dough situation. And it's firm, but I want it to be just like that crust on the outside. So in order to do that, I'm going to poke the holes in that, and I'm going to get that crust. But my cream cheese pound cake, as long as I take my time, I got that down pat. The strawberry shortcake is the easiest dessert. But like I say, I want to do marketing. I might want to do Twinkies for the strawberry shortcake, so that extra cream layer can blend in with the strawberries. Or I might get the little sponge round cakes for the layers. Okay, I got some good ideas coming, and I want my packaging to be good. And I kind of like little boxes. I like putting those pies in a box and then tape them up and all that kind of good stuff. And see, boxes are cheap. You can get 50 boxes for $10 if you go to the right store. And then as far as the strawberry shortcake, you want to keep that cool. So maybe I can just order maybe 100 of those clear containers off Amazon for about $15. That way my stuff will look good, until I get the logos I want. That's how I'm going to start off with the packaging. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this silent life until the end. Even though I have silent lives, I always put in what God wants me to put in the end, if He want me to. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the post notification bell so you can know every time I go live, post a photo, or post a video. And I also have a channel. I also have a channel on YouTube called Elyse's History Corner. So go over there and subscribe too. And my niche over there are viral. I have almost 2 million view viral YouTube short remixed, and that's my niche over there with all my other diverse content. And you may see some of the same stuff on all my platforms. Is because everybody don't have Facebook, everybody don't have YouTube, everybody don't have Snapchat, everybody don't have Threads or TikTok, but I share on all the platforms so that way everybody have the same exposure. And ain't nothing wrong with replaying my videos, because especially my reaction commentary on this channel, I react off Peach McIntyre. I have some off Peach McIntyre. I do a lot of reactions on Gina Janine. I've done Peyton Charles, Portia Nicole, Chelsea Janae. Just depends on who acting the most ridiculous. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks and bye.